Friday edition of the program, the Big Z, in the palatial estate that is Gibby's Villa in Jacksonville. I'm at the CCMC, and we've got a game tonight, brother.
Finally, and I'm actually today in my non-palatial estate. We're down on the 7th floor, not up on the 18th floor, living in the lap of luxury in the penthouse of Gibby. So, but I can see TIAA Bank Stadium, where the game will be tonight. I can look at that right out of my room. Saw a couple dolphins in the river earlier today, which is always a treat.
You saw dolphins in the river? Did you do a run on the St. James River? A little jog?
I didn't do a run on that, but I was doing a walk, and a man who just exudes effervescence and a joy and a zest for life and football. A great friend of our program, the linebacker coach Jason Tarver, was walking by, and he's looking out there, and he's a big surf guy. You know, spends off seasons out in California, right on the beach, and goes surfing, and loves that, and the whole family surfing. And he knows the water. He loves it. So he looked out there, and he goes, "Dolphin!" Wow! And then I looked. Sure enough, dolphin right there. And then he was all excited talking about dolphins, and he was loving it. He says, "I see him every time I'm in Jacksonville. They come say hi."
How about the fact that he went with the singular dolphin as opposed to dolphins? Dolphin.
Yeah, dolphin.
God, I love
Boom.
that guy. I told you I'm doing his
great.
warm-up now for the 6 and 7-year-old practice. I do his little jog all the way around the whole
Just
field.
that beautiful jog right
That little very slow.
What about the day when I was trying to get a little insight into our linebacker room, and I jogged with him for the whole length of the field while we were in a commercial break? Yeah. I didn't want to stop his routine. Yeah. I was like, wait, I actually ran for a while now.
It's like, we're going to start here in a second. Z, we're going to start.
Come on back. Well,
yeah.
The good news is the preseason is going to start today for the Browns. We saw some games yesterday as well. I got to watch a lot of the Giants and Patriots. Did not get to watch much of the Baltimore-Tennessee game, but the Ravens continue to be unbeatable in the preseason, which is pretty cool. 21 in a row, I think it is.
Funny,
it's kind of crazy.
Isn't it?
It's one of the craziest stats. Yeah, it's insane.
I wonder at what game number consecutive win were they like, and now we're going to care about this? Did they stumble into like 9, and then it was like, oh, wow, we've actually won 9 in a row. Let's just keep winning them. What was the number?
I think that's right. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's kind of like the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. It wasn't. They never set out in the first year of that to say, you know, Undertaker's never going to lose at WrestleMania. And after they got, I think it was like 5 years into it, they said, oh wow, this is kind of a cool thing. And they get to 10 years, and okay, now it's a thing. Like now, it's a thing. So I think they're at the point. And by the way, I should point out the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak ended at 21. So 21-1. Brock Lesnar was the one in 21-1. So they're at 21. So If history is a precedent, they're losing next week.
I mean, that kind of sucks that Lesnar got him.
I mean, why? He is as legit as it gets.
I don't know. He just seems like, I know, but it just seems like they actually don't like each other, right? Or do I have that wrong?
No.
So, like, why does he get to be the one? Like, why wouldn't, if you're Undertaker,
because Undertaker
he respects his fighting ability, so that's how that got to be it, even though he hates him individually?
I don't think he does hate him. I think he likes him and respects him a great deal.
Oh, well, you would know. I don't know. I guess my perception was that he didn't like him as a human.
They're working. That's called working.
That was
all those stare downs at the UFC events. That's a work.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't get worked into a shoot, brother. No, and I think he thought he was the guy to do it.
He was the appropriate.
He could carry the company, and he was the appropriate guy. And it was quite believable, and he had the credentials.
Right, very good.
Anyway, so that means the Ravens are losing next week.
There you go. You heard it here first.
No streaks go past 21.
Nobody does. No. I'll tell you, from a football perspective and a preseason football perspective, if everything holds as it is right now at 105, and I've got a 60% chance that it won't anytime between now and then, I'm guessing there will be changes. But if it holds as it is, I mean, it's got a potential to be, as first preseason games go, Trevor Lawrence back, Travis Etienne back, playing, Desean Watson playing, first time since 2020. I mean, if it holds,
it's got a lot to it. And right, Desean Watson for the first time since he played, I think it was January 3rd, Jim said, of 2021, which was his final game of the 2020 season. There's a lot to this one. And we know we won't see some of our principal players, but in terms of for a guy like Jed Wills, for Chris Hubbard coming back from his injury, or whether it's James Hudson getting the start at right tackle, you've got a situation where you're getting to go against the number one pick in the draft, Trayvon Walker. And on the other side, you got Josh Allen, who had 7.5 sacks last year, a former first-round pick in his own right, who has a double-digit sack season under his belt. So there's good work there. They brought in a lot of guys. You mentioned with Lawrence and then Travis Etienne making – this is his NFL debut. Then you've got, Christian Kirk that they paid all the money to. Evan Ingram they gave good money to. They brought in Zay Jones. They've got Marvin Jones. They've got Laviska Shenault. There are some weapons. There are compelling people, and I think from the Jags side of it, the Browns are actually fortunate in some ways that the Jags played in that Hall of Fame game, because none of these guys, I think if this was preseason game 1, maybe we don't see any of them. With the Patriots, you didn't really see anybody of note except for the great Money Mitch, which, shocker, forces a fumble as only he can. Money Mitch,
no shock,
just a legend. No shock whatsoever. But, no, I think there's a lot of stuff about this that is very compelling and entertaining, especially, in the early going. We're talking, this is probably all of the fun things we're talking about are probably first quarter only. Yeah. And then it's about guys trying to make a name for themselves and make their rosters in a standard preseason game. But that first quarter, if nothing changes, is going to have, I think, the eyes of the entire football world on it. You're talking Desean Watson on a football field playing football. And then you're talking about Trevor Lawrence's first live action in the Doug Peterson era after just a completely wasted year that was a debacle on every possible level for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, all of those things. What are your I'll hold that up for a second. I'll get that in a second. I know you know this, but just for our audience's standpoint, the last time Desean played a full season was in 2020, okay? 2020.
That's right.
That year, just so you can wrap your head around what he's all about on the football field, 70% completion percentage, 70.2 to be exact.
That's right.
4,823 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 picks.
That's right.
Led the league in yards per attempt at 8.9 and yards per completion at 12.6. He averaged 301.4 yards per game that season.
Preach.
Good.
Yeah, quarterback rating of 112.4. In fact, his career quarterback rating at 104 is one of the greatest in NFL history. And for his career, he's the most accurate quarterback in the league, 68% completions. He is unbelievable. He is an unbelievable talent. We will get to see him in this game as of right now. And you feel like, and again, I'll go back to yesterday. There were people who said that this was going to come out very, very late today with the sole goal of making it impossible for him to play today, which feels like we're taking this way too far, especially given all the other things going on in the world right now. But if not, I think it will be exciting to see him, and I think the hope is to get him, 1 or 2 series. I think if the first series is a good long drive that results in points, I think that could be it for Desean Watson. But you want to get him an opportunity to get in the game operation, to do things the Browns' way. It's been a long time since he's warmed up before a game, gone into the locker room, come back out, taken snaps, played football, and the Browns want to give him that opportunity. But in terms of just his abilities, they're stunning. And you can hear it from talking to anybody on the team, anybody on the Browns team. They rave about his abilities and what he's shown so far at the Cross Country Mortgage campus, and now's a chance to show it out there. And like we said, it's not going to be a full complement of weapons for him on offense, but that's not the point, right? The point's to call a few plays, get him to some completions, and move forward.
Yeah, that's it. What do you put it at that he plays tonight? The way this has gone, what's your gut? This isn't scores because none of us know. None of us know.
Nobody knows.
I just don't see
honestly,
I just don't see any scenario how he plays. I feel like you're going to find something this afternoon. I don't mean to throw water on it, but that's just kind of what it feels like. I feel like every time that I feel like that we could be heading to resolution or some sort of a positive end for all of this, then you just get slapped in the face. And I feel I'm just preparing for that this afternoon.
Listen, I honestly think he is going to play. At this point, and maybe I'm just being insane, that's what I think. I think that he will play tonight. Could they try to undermine that and change that? Of course. But at this point, it's 110. It's not even now you're talking about the league's all about player safety and things like that. The Browns have laid out their plan for this week. They have practiced that plan all week. They have gone through walkthroughs to that plan all week. And now, if you force a change at that moment, to me, it's already, as Jim Donovan said yesterday, a little bit cruel. That just feels like that's too much. Like, it's too much for me. I think you could have done this yesterday. You could have done this you could have done this last Monday. You could have done it at any point. It's supposed to be an expedited decision. The facts are already in there. I don't know. I think he's going to play. If he doesn't, here's the other thing. And for the NFL, I go back to the best thing they could have done was have this, accepted the ruling, threw some fines in there. Good is done for victims of sexual assault, like actual tangible good from a monetary standpoint. And instead, this is going to be looming over the thing. If he plays tonight, it's going to be the biggest story in the NFL. If he doesn't play tonight, it's going to be the biggest story in the NFL.
Yeah.
You could have had this by this time this week. Sure, there would have been some people that probably would have been upset, and a lot of people. And I understand people's anger towards the situation and the allegations against Desean Watson, all of it. But I think it's in everybody's best interest to get this all behind us. So whatever it is, let's get there, and let's all be able to move forward, because it keeps this in
Otherwise,
the story.
it's never
you have preseason football, right? You have preseason football. You think by week 1 anybody was going to be talking about this? If it was ended what it was by week 1, no.
I don't think if they would have if they would have held with Sue L. Robinson's initial ruling, I don't think that this would even still be being talked about.
No,
been done. Okay, here's the penalty. Some people don't like it, but they would have moved on to something else, and that would have been it. But instead, it stays top of mind, and unfortunately for us, it's something that we got to deal with. And I don't think it's fair for anybody involved. I think it's fair for the fans, most especially. It's not fair for the organization. It's not fair for the teammates,
right,
and everybody else involved, the coaching staff, everybody else. Like, there should be transparency in this, and there isn't any. What do you make of the Tom Withers among those in the AP reporting last night that Desean would accept 8 games and a $5 million fine? What did you make of that Hail Mary? Is kind of what I thought of it.
I was befuddled. I don't understand. I don't understand when things like that come out.
Yeah.
In most cases, I feel like it's a negotiating tactic, and there is somebody who feels like they benefit from that information coming public. Help me get my head around, and if you have thoughts on this already, because I've seen some people tweet out. I know Ben Axelrod tweeted out that he thought that actually was something that would be more beneficial to Watson than to the NFL, or more beneficial I don't remember which he said, one way or the other. I'm trying to understand who this benefits and why this knowledge is out there.
I don't know. It seemed to me much like I'm guessing where you are going, which is it seemed like a negotiating tactic, but I don't know that the NFL is in a position to need to negotiate. Feels to me like the NFL can do whatever it wants at this point. And so to say, well, we'll take 8 games and $5 million, okay, well, we're proud of you, but we prefer it to be a full year, and our judge who we pick to do it is going to make it as such. So I didn't understand it felt like it would be, that's why I used the term Hail Mary. It was like, well, okay, but I don't know. Like, would that have been something that would have been helpful in June? I have no idea, right? I don't know what that would have been in June before we went through all of this. But right now, the NFL has all of the cards, unfortunately, because of the way this thing is played out, and it's been collectively bargained. Like, there is no bargaining now. We're past that.
Right, but it'd be like if you and I were engaged in some type of a negotiation, and at the end of the day, it was decided that whatever I wanted goes, period. And then you're like, yeah, but I'll take this, and it's not what I want. Like, so what? I don't.
Yeah.
Is it being put out there? Here's the only way that I could see. Is it being put out there so that if he gets, or so that if they settle on, call it 10, that they can say, oh, well, we got it up all the way from 6 to 10. He wanted, we wanted a full season. He wanted 6, and instead we've met in the middle at 10. Or what? I just
That's
don't.
That's my point. I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think there is an answer for it.
I was very confused.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very strange. I thought it was very strange that, and then I was quadruple checking it last night. Like, are we sure this was? Is it verified? It's the Associated Press. Like, wait, what? What? Now? I don't know. The whole thing seemed pretty crazy to me. By the way, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence playing, his first game under this new regime and the urban regime from a year ago. 3 of the 4 shortest coaching regimes in NFL history were all former college coaches that were really, really good at the college level. Urban is one of them. I'll buy you a Coors if you can tell me one of the other two.
Urban is the shortest coaching.
3 of the 4 shortest
ever.
coaching tenures in NFL history are former college coaches who are really good. Stay off your Google machine. Don't cheat.
I'm not doing it. I'm not.
If you can name
Saban?
one of the other two. One of the other two. No.
Saban?
A franchise that at one point was near and dear to your heart because of a certain allegiance with an Illini great.
Jim Mora?
Bobby
Jr.?
Petrino.
Oh, Bobby Petrino, Falcons. Sure.
And then Lou Holtz. Sure. Lou Holtz was the other one. Those are the three of the 4 shortest were those.
Hold
guys.
on. I've wiped Lou Holtz out of my mind. Where?
I think he was with Minnesota, oddly. Like at some point. Way back.
Oh, like before Dennis Green, before all that?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Like before he went to Notre Dame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Bobby Petrino. That's right.
Bobby Petrino.
Saban was there a few years, right?
I think he was there a year and a half. I think he
Mora
did 2 years. Jim Mora had a couple years with Atlanta, maybe more than a couple. I mean, he got to an NFC Championship game with Atlanta with Vic against Philly.
Jeez.
Jim Mora did. But, yeah, pretty short on that tenure. Spurrier didn't last long in Washington either. That was a pretty short tenure for him in that one.
The old ball coach.
Kiffin only lasted 20 games. You forget Lane Kiffin coached the Raiders. Right?
I did forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jimmy Johnson is the outlier of it. Bill Walsh was too, but I mean to a different degree.
I remember the old ball coach in that preseason with the Washington football team.
Winning titles.
Like Danny Werfel and Shane, and they were putting up like 35 a game, running full game plans and basically unloading their clip in the preseason, and then in the regular season they couldn't do anything.
Well, it was just like what Urban did. Like Urban freaking out about not winning preseason games last year. They're like, "What are we doing?"
Started against us,
right? It's like, what are you doing, man? Do you even know what this is? Crazy.
So it's funny. Remember when we were talking about Urban, and we were talking about in Hard Knocks when it showed that one conversation that he had where he's like, "Man, it's just all football."
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
It's funny. So I was talking with a good friend, Coach Tarver, and he was, he's been a defensive coordinator in the NFL at the Raiders, and then prior to coming to join Kevin Stefanski's staff, he was the defensive coordinator of Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked him, I said, what do you like the NFL, or we were talking about recruiting? And he said he used to come down to this area a lot, and he said he loves the NFL because it's all football.
Yeah,
that's what
that's
he loves
the difference.
about it. He's like,
right,
yeah, right there, total, complete, yeah. And that struck me.
They're both completely different things. Both are very, very difficult, but there is a cheat code for the one. Like if you're good, if you're charismatic and you can recruit, and now if you have name, image, and likeness and all of that,
you can win.
If you get the best players, you can win. You do not have to be a genius schematically in any way.
Correct.
But if you,
no.
But now that's a skill, right? That's a skill. It's just a different skill. It's a different muscle than what you need to be successful in the NFL. All right, we're loaded up today.
Yes.
We've got Coach Stefanski from the Coaches Show last night. That's coming up next. The Hoff will join after that. Chris Rose on the show today. My gosh, it's just one luminary after another. Harrison Bryant on the program. Our keys to the game tonight, and we'll keep an eye on if the NFL does something as well. So all of that forthcoming. We're off and running. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. That bathroom of your dreams in about a day. You can transform your current bathroom into a custom bath for that spa-like experience. Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority, simply put, Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler. Expert factory-trained installers. Give them a call now. You get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. 216-220-8399. Again, $500 off. You go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. They have an enormous selection of bath projects. They're all made in the United States. You can go from outdated to outstanding in your wet space, in your bathroom very, very quickly in about a day. Superior products with expert installers at thebathauthority.com. And now from last night's Kevin Stefanski show, here's Nathan one-on-one with our head coach, Kevin Stefanski.
All right, Coach, we're getting to play some football. Fine.
Both down.
The two Cleveland Browns will make their debut tomorrow night down in Jacksonville. When you go into a preseason game like this, what are your goals?
Yeah, it's always about operation, really. And the nice part is it's an extension of training camp. So we really harp on having a clean practice and making sure that we have 11 in the huddle and playing clean with our technique and those type of things. And you hope that when the lights are on and you're playing in a game and there's other jerseys across from you, you hope that stays true to what you've been doing up there in Berea. So it's really an extension of our work, and that's what I'm hoping to see.
All right, we know Desean Watson will play tomorrow night, and some of the starters on both sides of the football, with Desean in particular. Let's just start. What have you seen with him since he's come into this building and you've gotten to get him out on the field through this training camp?
Yeah, he's worked very, very hard. He's, learning a new system is not easy, so he's certainly put in the work. He's put in the work with the coaches. He's put the work in outside of this building to just make sure that he's ready to go. It's been impressive to watch his work ethic. And then on the field, he's really showed the players, his teammates, what he can do. Run game, pass game, you name it. I think you see a pretty special talent.
For me, the thing that has kind of stood out the most is talking to the guys on defense. And they say, well, sometimes I think I have perfect coverage, and he gets the ball in there anyway. As a play caller, when you have somebody that can make everything right, how helpful is that?
Well, I think what Desean does, what those veteran quarterbacks do, is especially when you're going against a defense in practice, and I should mention they're not allowed to hit them, so it allows you as a quarterback to try different things. But he really works hard on his vision, because a lot of times on defense you're preaching to the guys, hey, QB vision, where is the quarterback looking, and that allows you to move in your zone. So Desean really works hard in a lot of those drills to move the defense with his eyes. So that's oftentimes what you see is he's going to look aggressive right to throw left and fit the ball into a tight window, or look left. And it's really a cat and mouse game that he's playing oftentimes with the linebackers and the safeties.
And by the way, very good linebackers and safeties, so he's getting excellent work out there. What are your goals for him in particular in this game? Would you like to see him get a nice long drive, get in the end zone, get out of there? What are you hoping for?
Yeah, honestly, it goes right back to that operation word. Yeah. Want to really get used to our program, get used to our pregame and getting out there on the first play and huddling up and getting in and out of run checks, running the show, coming back off after hopefully a successful drive, sitting down on the bench, making corrections, all the things that go with operation when you're talking about a new team, new players, new teammates, new coaches, new scheme, new play caller, all those things.
All right, so we know that's for Desean. We know what you want to see out of the starters and the guys that you know are going to be a part of this football team, and obviously staying healthy, but having good operation, going out there handling their business. There's a large group of guys on this team that are fighting to try to make this roster or to put great stuff out there on tape, and you have young guys that you've seen it out here. Okay, well, what does it look like in a game? Those guys, what's your message to players like that, just starting at that spot?
Yeah, I mean, the tape is your resume, and I think that's what the exciting part for our guys is. They're going to get out there on TV, under the lights, and we get 3 of these. So we're evaluating them nonstop. We evaluate how they do in our meeting room. We evaluate them on our practice field. So obviously this is a part of that evaluation, but the rest of the NFL world's watching too. And when you're talking about a roster that's 90 is going to get cut down to 53, you're going to end up releasing a lot of players that you like. So for those players, ultimately, we want them to put great tape on the field. We want them to put that out there, knowing we can't keep everybody, but we want everybody to give a good accounting of who they are, and that's really what the goal is with these 3 games.
Any guys on offense that you're particularly excited to see if what you've seen at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus translates to a game?
Yeah, I wouldn't single anybody out except to say those rookies, it's the first time you get to see them in a game. And I think with the rookie class, they're working very, very hard. They're making mistakes. We're making corrections, those type of things. So really now is the time for that natural progression to game one. And now it's the time to take it from the meeting room. You took it to the practice field. Can you take it to the game field? See how those guys handle that. Really see how we tackle. And that's a big part of this too. Defensively is how we track the runner, and then how we bring the runner to the ground, whether it's one person, two people, three people. So excited to evaluate that part of it as well.
When you think about the rookies and guys who have opportunities, let's just talk about the receiver room for a second. Amari won't play, so you've got Donovan. First look at David Bell. We know Schwartz is kind of a guy that we're hoping takes that big leap. How important is this game for maybe your overall comfort with a room that, besides Amari and Donovan, is largely unproven?
Yeah, I wouldn't overstate this one game, but I do think it's
as a building block.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it's an all-encompassing view of this position in particular, and I think I would go back to that off-season program. I'd go to the work we've done to date. So we're trying to put it all together, and I think I see guys making strides. I see young players playing different positions. We're trying guys in different spots, and ultimately, you mentioned Amari, who's a veteran and has done it at a high level, but we're excited about the rest of that room. We're excited about the tools that the rest of the guys bring to that room.
All right, let's go kind of just into that running back room. Jerome Ford, I feel like, has kind of popped out here at camp. Are you excited in this kind of a game? You know what you got in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and it's great. But Journess was great when you needed him last year. Do many teams get to go into a preseason game with a D'Ernest, a Jerome Ford, and John Kelly, who looks darn good as well?
Yeah, I think we're really excited to see those runners. You mentioned Jerome, a rookie that we are really pleased with how he's done to date. Again, you go to training camp and you're out there in the practices at Berea, we're not tackling the guys to the ground. I mean, it's a physical practice, but we're not taking our own guys to the ground. So all those plays that you say, hey, maybe who would have made that guy miss, now you get to see it. Does he make a miss? Does he fall forward? Does he have a forward lean? Do they have great ball security in these moments? So I think those are the type of things that you're looking forward to under the lights.
Let's flip it around defensively. We've heard Doug Peterson say you will see Trevor Lawrence. We'll see Etienne, his debut. That's good work, right? And this is a team not only on that side, but you flip it around, Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker getting after your tackles. You're going to be able to get some pretty good work here for a first preseason game.
Without a doubt. And I think that's, again, you work real hard against each other. And Jed Wills gets to see Myles Garrett all day. Now's the time, though, where you should go see a different body type and you do a little bit of studying at who these guys are and what kind of moves they have. But now's the time where you get out there and maybe you don't know exactly what tools that rusher has. So you stay true to your techniques. You're a DB, you're covering the wide receiver. You're gaining information as he's coming off the ball and making a determination on how tight you have to play him and who you're going to play off, who you can get your hands on. So it's a challenge because you don't do a ton of pre-work on these guys. But it goes back to, hey, fundamentals and techniques, and that's what we're looking forward to seeing if they show up.
All right, this has nothing to do with the game tomorrow, but as a head coach, I'm curious how you approach the situation. I think it was a couple practices ago, there was a one-on-ones at the end, and it felt like there was one rep, and Travell Harris ended up making a catch. Everybody on the D had to do push-ups. You joined the D, but you represent the O and the D. Were you in a no-win position where you were going to be doing push-ups no matter what happened on that play?
Yeah, that's right. When we say this is for push-ups, I know I'm losing. I'm on the losing end no matter what. But that's a Coach O'Shea thing. Anytime you're doing those one-on-ones, the last rep has to be for push-ups.
I love that, and nice catch from your little undrafted free agent there, Mr. Harris there, a guy we'll see in this game. When you think about, you talked about the young corners, AJ, MJ, the two that will probably get a lot of work. AJ played great for us last year. MJ's off to a good start. What do you like about those guys and the fact that that's depth and quality depth? Yeah,
it's a deep room. Those guys are pushing each other. They're practicing really, really hard. I like those guys. I like that room. Those guys are very much about the work. You see them constantly working with their coaches. They're diligent in their preparation. MJ's a guy, as you know, when we first drafted him, we're excited about his size and his length and his physicality. So, again, not to be a broken record here, but I can't wait to see him up close and personal against some receivers that are different than our guys, and
we have left on
see if what we're seeing in Berea shows up in the game.
About 30 seconds.
Will show up, but he's done a really, really nice job, and AJ, it feels like he's been here forever, and every opportunity he's had, he's done a nice job. So we've been doing different things with AJ throughout this offseason and seeing if he can take it to the game.
This is the joy for the players. This is why all the work's been put in. And for coaches, you're not getting into the game planning that you will in the season, but nonetheless, this is a time to come together and do something as a team. And I know you did something as a team, building that camaraderie. How was earlier today? And what are you hoping to get from bringing this team together prior to that game?
Yeah, just trying to be intentional about opportunity
30 from now.
Together. And I think we all have lived in a world where you didn't have these type of opportunities. So now that things are quote unquote back to normal, when we go on a trip, we just felt like week one was the right time to do some things together. And it can be anything really throughout the season, but anytime you're breaking bread with your teammates,
John,
I think you're building that trust in each other, and I think that's a big part of this.
Well, it's great to get to be in the room.
hot.
Hey, Coach, and thanks for the time.
Great. Thanks, Nathan.
And game one of that journey for 2022 starts tonight. Preseason game one, Jaguars and Browns tonight down in Jacksonville. For some more perspective, coming up next, the Hoff joins the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Here for my friends at Renew Home Exteriors. Upgrade the look of your home with new siding from Renew Home Exteriors. Receive $1,500 off and free insulation wrap plus 0% interest for qualified buyers. In addition, Renew Home Exteriors will meet or beat competitors' estimates by up to 10% or pay you $100. Hear from their customers like Blake. He had this to say: Renew did an excellent job with my roof and siding. Very professional crew. Good rates. Showed up on time. I couldn't be more pleased and would do repeat business in a heartbeat. Beautify your home with premium siding and roofing products at lower prices with Renew Home Exteriors. Visit renewestimates.com for more. And now we go live down to Jacksonville in the palatial villa of Dr. Z. We find the Hoff there as well. Good grief, you guys are separated, it looks like, by about 30 or 40 yards in that villa you're staying in at that posh resort down in Jacksonville, Hoff. You able to stretch out a little bit?
I'm not exactly sure this is the same villa that you're seeing on your Zoom screen there, because we are in a dumpy 400-year-old Hyatt Regency in a less than desirable area of Florida right now. But I'm here with my good friends, and we're about to watch the Cleveland Browns open the season. Let's go! So we couldn't be happier.
Yes.
We can't get the Hoff out at Jack's Beach? Some sort of a beach resort? Maybe Sea Island, Georgia?
We did have a nice time last night. We got to hang out last night. We had a good time. But, yeah, obviously Jack's Beach is where you want to be around here. But, unfortunately, we're here. It's a business trip, locked in, ready to go.
It's a long business trip.
Action.
A little bit of a long business trip, fellas.
For me, the Hoff just got here yesterday.
Perfect timing.
Like 6 yesterday. Had a nice meal of food.
About 15 minutes before the reservations at the Mortons in the hotel here, so just in time for a nice Cajun ribeye.
Oh baby,
boy!
Some shrimp cocktails. Had some nice appetizers. It was a great meal. Sharing it with some good people, and that's our CBS crew that was here. And Nathan stopped by. John Doss, lots of good folks.
Good old Doss.
Can you get me your order, Hoff? What's your order last night at the Mortons? And then Z, I need your order from dinner last night as well, just for my notes.
Sure.
Yeah, I like to do the Dalai Lama, the one of everything. So I start with the house chopped salad, and then I went lobster bisque, because if that's ever on a menu, you order it without question.
The guy question: did the bisque, did it come out already in the bowl, or did it come out in a bowl with a piece of lobster and then they dumped it out of a nice tureen?
They got a B- because it came out already in the bowl, and they didn't give you the joy of watching him pull out that little what do you call it, tureen?
Yeah, that's what I call it. I don't even know if I used that.
I have no idea. I've said it emphatically before, but I like it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
And they dump it over the
a gravy boat kind
lump lobster. It's just delightful. And then they ask you with the pepper grinder that's like 9 feet long, some type of disgusting sex toy that they come over and they grind.
Yep.
Like
it's a great sound, though.
Pepper of all time. It's delightful. So I went with that for the appetizers, and then the Cajun ribeye, 16-ounce, nice hard seared Cajun ribeye, which was the waiter's recommendation.
And you had that medium rare?
16-ounce, though. Were you like, where's the rest of it?
No, 16's perfect. I always say whatever the chef recommends, because sometimes with those fattier cuts, the chef will recommend going a little bit over medium rare to just get that hard sear. So I just said whatever chef recommends, and it looked like it was about a medium rare, maybe a medium rare plus.
Okay.
It was perfectly cooked.
Hold on a second. 60. I've watched you eat a 3-pound bison tomahawk.
Yeah.
So 16 ounces, I feel like that's an appetizer for you.
But what I really like to enjoy when I go out to dinner with friends is a little bit of everything. Like I said, I don't want to just blow my wad on the steak. I want to be able to have steak, seafood, the salad, the bisque, the appetizers, the bisque. We got the Parmesan truffle fries. We got 2 orders of asparagus, which apparently everybody was against eating vegetables last night, because I was like the only one crushing it. So I had the asparagus, I had the Brussels sprouts.
Love a good
there was like a creamed corn option that was wonderful.
Creamed corn's undefeated.
It was fantastic, and we got the cream spinach, which is really good. But I think the surprise was Aditi was sitting next to me, and she's a vegetarian, so she ordered like this really big, like buffalo cauliflower steak.
Yeah, sure.
That was delightful.
I bet that was
a real treat.
It was a real treat, because I do like some cauliflower, but I wouldn't normally order it when you already have so many other things. But it was a real treat to be able to have that. And then you and I, Z, washed it down with a couple bourbons at the end of the night.
Which was very nice.
How was that selection on those?
Successes.
You guys are speaking my language. What were the selections there? What kind of bourbon list did we have?
We didn't really look at it much. I just gave it a quick glance because we were kind of far away from the bar. But it felt like they might have had, if you wanted to go high. It felt like there was the potential. I just wasn't up there.
What'd you go with? Eagle Rare? Is that what you?
I think it was. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
a great.
Eagle
It's a
Rare.
fantastic whiskey.
Yeah, it was great. It was
It's great.
It was wonderful. It was
Can't
a great,
get it anymore
was a real
here.
treat last night.
Sad.
No,
Sad.
you got to know somebody.
Yeah.
You got to know somebody.
Even then, you don't.
So
There's
I
nothing.
went.
What'd you do, Z?
I went last night. Started off with 6 oysters.
Ooh.
I'm really loving oysters these days. Big oyster guy. I like a medium cup. I like a sweet as opposed to a briny. And they were delightful. Douse it in a little Tabasco sauce, and they had a vinegar that was full of red cherry peppercorns. It looked like. And that was really good. So I had started with the oysters and a little Caesar salad. Winning. Got to have it. And then I went with a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye that was
good.
just a real treat. And then on the side, asparagus. Me and Jim Donovan shared the asparagus, and it was nice. I like when they shave the bottom of it, so the bottom of the asparagus shaved, which is just it was a real
That's
treat.
next level. When you get those bigger asparagus, you really got to go with a peel because otherwise that skin is just too tough on the outside. You can't get the perfect the perfect creaminess of the asparagus. So that's what the elite steakhouses they
They do that, and it was in kind of like a lemon almondine type. I would say
great
on
pairing for asparagus,
and it was
almondine
wonderful.
for
And then I did have one scoop of cream corn, and that was it. Washed down a little vino, and then away we go. It was great.
Jeez,
Great night, feeling
incredible.
good. We got to watch
you.
the whole time. We had right on the TVs in front of us the Giants and the Patriots, and we got to see Money Mitch with a classic punch-out forced fumble, as only Money Mitch can. Mac Wilson, a couple of big hits, and then guess who's the only punter in town for the Giants? Our good friend, the Scottish Hammer.
Oh my gosh!
Locks
I thought you were
still
gonna say,
flowing.
I thought maybe they got coal out of his beach house.
No, Cole's living the dream in watercolor. It was the
Hammer's
Hammer.
in back.
And,
Good for him.
the Hammer's back. Yeah, good for the Hammer. Absolutely.
Huff, we texted you about the break glass moment, the scenario where we're in the AFC Championship game. The left tackle goes down. You have 2 weeks to get ready. You get the call. It's the Super Bowl. And in fact, Bill Callahan thinks you could play right now at your current playing weight. What are the first things, knowing you were a man of processes, what is your process like of once the decision is, okay, this is the break glass moment, I'm going to play, I've got one more game in me, what happens right now?
I immediately make reservations at all of the steakhouses in town for 5 meals per day because I'm going to have to gain a lot of weight in 2 weeks.
By the way, Callahan was in the bar. I can't confirm nor deny if he was recruiting you. It looked like he was,
keep an eye
He
on
was
the
checking on my shoe choice. See
He
if I was
was.
still wearing the flip-flops, which I was.
Which you were.
Which I was. This morning
I'm
at the
rocking the
Mortons.
flops at Morton's,
Here
which
in
was
Florida,
great.
I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course it's
You had a
okay.
Beach casual.
You had a
casual.
great shirt on last night. Tell Bo. I think Bo's probably heard of this brand. Would be my guess. It was a tremendous shirt.
Yeah, you ever heard of Poncho? It's
Poncho,
like
yeah.
a button-up.
It's a Western button.
It's an Austin company. Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's got like the Western
Cuts. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's got the
Pearl snaps. Pearl snaps, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, the half
great
was
company.
great. It was nice.
Yeah, my guy Colt McCoy, being the Austin kid that he is, hooked me up with them. So I've got 4 or 5 of those, and I love them. They're
That's great.
supposed to be like fishing / Western shirts. They're nice and stretchy, but they still breathe really well when you're down here, and they're good enough. You can wear them out to a Morton's and
No
feel
doubt.
like you're
No,
properly dressed.
You look like you could have gone from Morton's to Jack's Beach to the clubs.
I was ready.
Yeah,
for
you were
everything.
ready for
I
anything.
was ready for anything that was going to happen.
The versatility of the
relatively
Western snap shirt is really something that's underplayed in today's society. I mean, I think it's just so versatile. There's a lot you can do with it. And one of the coolest things is, if it is a situation where you have to remove the shirt, the pulling apart of the snaps is quite satisfying. Yeah, I like that. That's a good job. All right, we should probably talk a little bit about this game. Joe, can you believe that you are going to call a game on the television side of things tonight, that here we are at 10-2, right now Desean Watson's playing. Can you believe that I have to couch that with right now? Like, it feels like it's possible the NFL could pull the rug out on this thing. What do you make of how this is being handled?
Well, it seems like the people that are losing the most are the Browns fans, and this is something we talked about on CBD when I was there last week, and it's almost like the NFL is doing things right now to punish the Browns, which inadvertently or advertently they're punishing the fans who just want to be able to tune in and just see who their team is going to be, see what it's going to look like, and just have some certainty about what's going to happen, what's the process, what is the season going to look like with our quarterbacks. Do we need to go and try to explore some other options if Desean's suspended for the whole season? But it seems like the timing of all this is done to be punitive to the max, outside of just what a organization like the NFL should be doing, which would be, all right, this is the punishment, this is what we feel like, or this is the crime, this is what we feel like the appropriate punishment is, and we're going to levy this decision in an adult and mature manner. It seems like almost churlish and immature what they're trying to do, it seems, to the Browns right now by potentially suspending Desean right before the game starts just so that they can maximize the pain to the fans.
We've gone through this. It's crazy. We're sitting right here. The stadium is right there. We're looking at it right now.
Yes.
And we don't know
no idea
what's going on with Desean Watson. And it's funny. I'm doing a lot of refreshing. I've got it as a permanent search, just the name Watson. And I keep thinking we're going to see something. They've got to do something, and yet it feels like they're not. And then yesterday we were talking about, Bo and I earlier in the show, it came out that Watson would accept, 8 games and 5. What did you make of that? I just don't understand who that benefits for that to be. I didn't quite get it.
I didn't quite understand, because at first I thought maybe that Watson's camp would put that out there to try to maybe put pressure on the NFL to resolve this situation before the ruling came out. But they hold all the cards based on the process. I mean, it's basically Roger Goodell's stooge that's deciding what the penalty is, who, by the way, he knows exactly if he wants to continue his work with the NFL. He has to do what Roger tells him or what Roger wants.
Sure.
And Roger came out publicly and said exactly what he wants. So
they're seeking it.
They're
the decision makers.
You guys are the decision makers.
Right.
I am seeking a nice steak at Morton's. So what did I do? I ordered it, and I ate it.
Right. And I got it.
End of story.
You got exactly what you wanted.
So it's just such a bizarre situation. I can never remember anything that was even close throughout my career. Even in the regular season, I can never remember something so goofy. And we're talking about preseason, which this hurts the Browns not knowing if Desean's going to play tonight, because you can't get Jacoby ready to play, because I think the plan sort of is, hey, we want Desean to play with the starters, so I'm assuming that maybe Jacoby either isn't going to play because they want to give him the starter reps and they want to give Josh Dobbs and Josh Rosen reps with the backups. But you can't even come out with a good plan because you don't know if Desean's going to be available. And so it's going to happen potentially, it is or it isn't, so late that you can't even adjust your plan to make sure that everybody's on the same page to be able to get the rep schemes that you want with the players that you want in these next 3 games and in the joint practices next week.
It's just it's unfair. Now, it could go through and nothing could happen, right? And then everybody gets to go through the plan that they wanted to tonight, and we then still wait, and this drags on even longer. Right. I don't even know what the right outcome to root for is.
Right, because we all just want resolution. I think that's more than anything, is we just want to find out what it's going to look like.
And we were so close.
And we were there, right? We thought we had it.
Right.
But, we just want to know, how long is this suspension going to be? What's it going to look like, so we can move on with the business of football, with deciding who is going to be in that quarterback room, who's going to get the reps in the preseason, and then you can make the appropriate moves, and we as fans can start thinking about, and all right, this is our quarterback, these are the teams we're playing against, this is the matchups we like. That's what we want to do, and just having this hang over everybody who's a Browns fan right now. Like you said, it just seems unfair, Z.
It does. It does.
Huff,
frustrating.
I know we got to run real quick. Just outside of the quarterback, and by the way,
it's already 1:53. We're just getting started right now.
Luckily, you got all night. You got all night. You got.
That's right.
I want to ask you this.
Was on the call.
You've got Watson. You've got Lawrence. I mean, that's awesome if it stays that way. Mm-hmm. Real quickly, what else are you paying attention to in Game 1 tonight? Where will your eyes be?
Yeah, from the Browns standpoint, receivers. I think that's going to be the one thing that everyone's looking at. I want to see who in that receiver room is going to become a trusted member of that receiver group, who is going to be the person that stands out, because we're going to probably be throwing the football a lot. We know we can run the football. So preseason a lot of times is about finding out where your weaknesses are and finding out what some of those young guys and what they can do and how they can fit into your plan. So receiver room is my number one thing that my eyes are going to be going to.
You're the best.
And for the tackle, should we get real quick? I just want to get his take on this, because you've got Good pass rushers from the Jags. Josh Allen on one side, the number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker on the other. What are you looking for from Jed, and whether it's Hudson or Hubbard on the right side when they're getting that matchup against two guys who, one who's proven he can get after quarterbacks, got a 10.5 sack season under his belt, and one who was the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, well, Trayvon Walker is very interesting to me, right? Because I didn't think that was a good pick for the Jags where he was picked number 1 overall, because I don't see him with the ability to have a lot of sacks. He's not a guy that's got a ton of moves. He's a great athlete, and I think he's more of like a hybrid role. He might be like a 6 to 8 sack guy per year, but he'll make your defense better, right? Because he's a good player. He's very athletic. He can cover. He can blitz. But he's not a great like one-on-one beat you type guy. But I'm still interested to see how our tackles do against those guys. Knowing that Hub missed almost all of last season, I want to see how he's able to bounce back. I want to watch him out there because he's such an important part of this offensive line as your 6th offensive lineman, because unfortunately the way the NFL is, you're probably going to have at least an injury on the offensive line where somebody misses some time. And for the Browns, having a guy with experience like Hub who can play guard and tackle on both sides is incredibly valuable. So getting him out there, getting him feeling comfortable, seeing where he is to be that 6th guy, I think is big for the Browns. But then I also want to watch James Hudson, see what type of progress he's made. I had a chance to work with him during camp. It looks like his technique is much better, light years above where it was last season. Now it's about consistency for him. Can he go out every single snap that he's out there and maintain that focus and concentration on his assignment and on his technique, where you say, hey, no matter when Jack's able to come back, we feel really, really good about James if he does have to start for us at any length of time this season.
Great stuff, Hoff. Your partner is going to join us coming up next. Chris Rose coming up here at the top of the hour.
Baby.
Have fun on the call tonight, pal. Going to be fun listening to you.
It's going to be a blast. I can't wait.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
The great Joe Thomas, the Hoff, joining us from Z's Palatial Villa down at the resort that they find themselves in Jacksonville. Chris Rose will join the show coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk & Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We just got done speaking with the Hoff, and now we get to talk to his partner here on the program, Chris Rose, on the broadcast tonight. NFL Network, of course, Clevelander joining us on the hotline. Chris, thanks so much for taking the time. You have a long and decorated career, my friend. Have you ever been put in the position you're in where we're 2 o'clock, you got a kick at 7, most of us think Desean Watson's going to play, but I suppose it's possible that he isn't. Isn't it just strange how this has been handled?
I mean, it is. I think this is just kind of the NFL, right? I mean, it's funny with the whole Belichickian cliche where they turned a whole NFL film show into it, and it was called Next Man Up. And do your job and all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of all anybody can ever do right now. And, you could sit here and debate whether it's fair or it's not or all this other stuff. But whenever we find out what we're about to find out, you just go and you prepare for whether it's a broadcast or to go play in the game. And we get after it.
That's right, and we're excited to hear you on the call. We just had the Hoff on and got to hang out with you last night, which was a ton of fun, Chris. And I'm personally very excited for you as a guy, a Clevelander, to get to do this. What does it mean to get to call these preseason games, and what are you looking forward to the most about it?
Well, I'll start with the game itself, first and foremost. The Browns are in a great position. This is the most talent that we've had in this franchise since those teams that were winning 5 division titles and competing for 3 AFC title games in the 80s. The difference is we didn't have the type of speed on defense that this group does. I mean, it's outstanding. So I guess the nice thing is that, Nathan, you and I were talking about this. It's basically roster spots 45 and on, maybe. Yep. There's maybe 1 per position group, and in some position groups it might be 0, that number. And maybe in some position groups it's a little more open. But it's a nice feeling to know that you're really kind of able to zero in on specific guys and roster spots instead of going, okay, well, we've got Joe Thomas at left tackle. Let's fill out the rest of the team. So we're not there.
No.
On a personal level, this is what I dreamt of. I mean, I used to call. I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but one of my brothers is named Pete. So yes, Pete Rose. And we used to plug a microphone into the VCR, and for anybody that's under the age of like 33 or so, you can go look up what a VCR is. But we used to plug in a microphone, and we used to call Browns games. And my first one, I think, was 1984. We lost to the Chiefs like maybe 10-6 or something. Paul McDonald got sacked like 11 times, I want to say. Duriel Harris dropped a big, what would have been touchdown in the end zone, and then kicked a pylon. And so here I was as like a 13-year-old, and I was the analyst, and Pete would do the play-by-play. And I remember saying, oh, what a moron Duriel Harris is for dropping. I'm thinking, God, I could listen to Beasley Reese do these games on the weekend. I definitely have to be better than him. And so now I get a crack at it, and it's awesome. I'm so excited about it.
Chris, one of the things that's interesting about when you get to a certain age, and I'm a man, I'm 40, Nathan's a man, he's 40, and you're of an age of that as well, where you do get to a point where if you attain
older,
well, fair enough. You get to the point where you do attain these, sometimes if we're lucky enough, right, if you're fortunate enough and you're good enough and all these things, you can attain these things. And I always think it's really important, and I'm sure that you'll have a moment tonight, whether it's right before you go live or whenever, when you'll look down and look around and go, my God, look what I'm doing. Even with all you've accomplished, I have to assume that considering the context of this, you'll have that moment tonight.
Absolutely. And all I can tell you is if you're young, dream big. I mean, I dreamt about this when I was 13 years old. I'm telling you, I wanted to do this. And now the Browns have given me this amazing opportunity. I don't take it lightly.
It's awesome.
I've had the good fortune of having a solid run in this business and done some wacky things, did some incredible things, did some really fun things. And I will take a moment. I'll take it, I think, most importantly for my parents who have been gone my mom died 15 years ago. My dad died a decade ago. And, I sit here and think of how proud they would be for tonight.
Yeah.
That's when I'll take a moment, and it'll be special. I mean, it's emotional for me right now, even thinking about it. Because, you hear athletes talk about the support that they receive. I would not have been able to do this business if I hadn't received their support. And that's really important. It's what I'm trying to do as a dad of, 2 growing boys that are 21 and 16. And I just know how important my parents and my brothers and my sister were in supporting me and living out a lifelong dream for a lot of us in the Rose family.
It's awesome, man. That's awesome. And that's what all this is about. I feel I'm so excited for you, and I know that's going to be a powerful thing, and hopefully it's going to end up being a fun thing. I think that there's a lot of clouds around this Browns team. Obviously,
totally.
they're not as fun,
it's
but
going
to be fun and getting to work with Joe. And, what are you looking forward to from, obviously Jags have a lot of talent, interesting story last year, kind of a disaster, not even interesting, just a debacle with Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
But, Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, and they've got, the number 1 pick this year, Trayvon Walker. So an exciting team, I think, to go against for the first preseason game.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think that I don't know if they can jump from 3 to like 8 or 9 wins, but I think they've got something here. And they have drafted a lot of speed, a lot of highly productive players at the college level. I know some people say, well, hold on. Trayvon Walker didn't even have 10 sacks in his career, right? I get it. But, he played on a loaded Georgia defense where it seemed like every other pick in the first round came from that side of the football with them. And I'm excited for Trevor Lawrence. I thought it was a load of crap, to be honest with you, with the hand he was dealt last year. Urban Meyer was possibly the worst pick for that job. He was irresponsible. It cost Trevor Lawrence a year. For guys who are putting their livelihoods on the line every week, for that guy to not fly home on a team plane, that would have been it for me. I would have said, listen, you don't want to compete with your team, then go figure it out. You can go do something else. And I know that Chad Kahn is trying to do all the right stuff down here, and he's working. I think Doug Peterson is a perfect guy. Let's remember what a substantial leap Carson Wentz made from year 1 to year 2 under him. In fact, if he hadn't blown out his knee against the Rams in week 14 or whatever it was, he was on his way to probably winning the MVP that year.
He's going to be MVP.
I don't
Absolutely.
know. I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is going to make that monumental a leap, but I think it's going to be something to watch. And is Christian Kirk worth $72 million? Is Marvin Jones in year 11 still good enough? They're going to be better, and they're in a weak division. Yeah. I don't want to say that too loud, just in case anybody's hearing me in the hallway.
That's true. Chris, the other thing that's going to be really fun tonight, and we've got to look at this at camp, and you were out at camp last week. We saw you last week out here at camp. And it's tough because the Watson cloud is everywhere. But in terms of what is on this field, and especially you hit on this in a previous answer about our defense, guys like M.J. Emerson, the depth that we have in the secondary at linebacker, it's stunning. It almost, there's several times last week, for me at least, Chris, it almost takes your breath away how many just impressive athletes we have in the back 7. And a lot of those guys are going to be on display tonight. You're going to get a first-hand look at them. What has been your impression of what you've seen of this defense?
I'm telling you, I've never, I grew up on Dixon, Minifield, Mark Harper, Felix Wright, Chris Rockins, that sort of secondary, which was pretty good because, we didn't have a Myles Garrett. The closest thing that we had athletically in the front 7 to him, although I do believe Clay Matthews is a Hall of Famer, and he was a really good athlete because he could do everything, was Chip Banks. I don't know how much people remember about Chip Banks, but, he could really run. He could do it all on the football field, and he was here about 4 years or so before we dealt him to San Diego, and then drafted the mad dog in the meat market, Mike Junkin. But this group here, they can – I really feel like they've got something for everybody out there. I really think that, M.J. Emerson completes the ingredients back there. You're talking about a guy that's 6'2", over 200 pounds. Can he cover a tight end? I think we'll find out. Can he cover the big receivers? That's what he's here for. they've got something for everybody back there, and I think that is the exciting thing. And when you hear a guy like Greg Newsome say, A.J. Green could start on almost any team in this league, and heck, he could probably start here, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That means something.
Yeah, I know our DB coaches are very excited to see MJ tonight, as well as A.J. Green, who played so well for this team. Talking with Chris Rose will be on the call tonight for the TV broadcast of the Browns and the Jags. Chris, when you kind of just look at this team and coming out of this game, what do you think the Browns hope to accomplish? What makes this game a win for you? Because at the end of the day, unless you're the Baltimore Ravens, winning these games is not of great importance. But what's a win to you?
I'll be honest, I don't know how important it is to them either. I know we don't like
21
it,
in a row.
They're like, yeah, I know 21 is 21, but I don't think they're sitting there going, yes,
of course,
nailed it again. For me, what I would like to see if I'm a fan watching the game, I want to say who's like the fourth receiver that we can count on.
Yep.
How dependable is the return game going to be now that Jakeem Grant, unfortunately, is done for the year? Those are the biggest questions. I also want to see which middle-round draft pick that's in that defensive tackle room is going to make a name for himself. I mean, that's a position where you don't have one veteran that has had a proven career yet. There's some guys that have done some things. Taven Bryant is still kind of trying to find his way after 4 years down here in Jacksonville. Sheldon Day, who unfortunately has been banged up throughout camp, is their most veteran guy, but he's a dude that's bounced around. So you've got all these middle-tier guys, whether it's Perion Winfrey or Tommy Togiai or Jordan Elliott, who the Browns are saying, here's your opportunity. Somebody take it. And I think I'll be excited to see who does.
Yeah, it really is. It's a heck of a debut, man. We can't wait to hear you tonight. You can very clearly hear there, folks, how much this all means to Chris, and this is going to be a cool night for everybody. Have fun tonight, most especially, Chris, and thank you for your time today.
Absolutely. I promise I won't sound like a fan, because if you mic me up when I'm watching the games at NFL Network on Sundays, I am just like you at home. Okay? I swear I am just like you. Now, I shouldn't be saying some of the words I do say, but we're all in the same boat and rowing the same direction. So just keep that in mind tonight, okay?
Deal. Thanks for your time, bud.
Yes.
You got it.
All right, Chris Rose will be on the call tonight on the television side of things. Z, you will be on the call tonight on the radio side of things with the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, making your debut as well. And I know you will have one of those moments. I know that you have done many of these on the sidelines. I know you did the game in England on the pinch hit. But it is rarefied air, brother. There's only 32 of these, pal, out there. And I know how much this franchise means to you, how much this fan base means to you. I'm sure you'll take a moment tonight as well and kind of look around and go, boy, this is – Mama, I made it.
I'm so excited, and I kind of got emotional listening to Chris talk about that he's not able to share that with his parents, because not Pedro, and Pedro whatever is not the most emotional guy, but when I told him that I got this opportunity, that he got emotional, and so that was something that still means a lot to me. But yeah, I'm so excited. I know that I put in the work. I'm ready. I was like S last night before a Buckeyes game where he can't sleep. I couldn't sleep because I was thinking about, this player and that player, and what if this happens? And I had so much nervous energy, I think, which is a good thing. The Hoff told me he got nervous for playing games, and he was the Hoff. So I think a little nervous energy is good. And yeah, I'm so fired up. I kind of just wanted to get there. And the weird thing is, because of everything that's going on, it's almost like we're nervous to get there. Like, what's going to happen in the next 4 hours? It's just crazy.
Well, that's the thing.
They're taking away all of our exciting moments.
Yeah, they're taking all the joy. I think that's what's really sucked about. That's one of the big things that sucked, and I think of that mostly from the fans' perspective. But yours, Chris's, even us doing the show over the course of the last couple of weeks, like this happened every day at camp last week when we were out there for the entire week. There was a moment every day in camp where Nick Chubb would do something and I would lose breath. Like, it would literally take my breath away. Like, like, did I see that? Like, I think I did. Or you would see one of the defensive players, especially in the secondary, just fly like a missile. And all of that, the joy and the excitement of all of that has to be tempered by this but. And the fact that we're still dealing with the yeah buts on the 5 hours before a preseason debut is just insane. It's not right, and it sucks.
Not fun.
No, it's not.
Fun.
It's the opposite of pure joy. It's the absolute opposite of that.
Yeah.
And it's
we
not.
thrive on enthusiasm.
We do. And this could have been handled about a million ways differently, and it was chosen not to. And so here's where we are. And as of right now, you get Desean Watson tonight. For how long? Who knows? Will it stand? Who knows? That's where we stand now at 2:19 on Friday, August 12th. We'll get you our keys to the game coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. I wanted to share this with you, Z. This is an actual back and forth between. So, we were going to get. There was all this talk about getting the dog, right? You know about this?
Yeah.
All right. So, in order to pacify, the wife went fish. So she's trying. So they're coming home with 3 glowfish. This is yesterday. Sends me this text at 2:04. They're coming home with fish. Okay, fine. So that's at 2:04. I see pictures of the 3 boys. They're thrilled. We're getting a fish. Away we go. So at 5:57. Now at this point, I'm at football practice. I received this. Is the exact wording of the text. I think our fish are dying. I'm running home quickly to see.
Yeah.
Going to watch Park for a few minutes. Okay. Now I was not consulted on this. You know me, big man of my whole operation is man's got to know his limitations. So I said, well, what do you know about raising fish? Nothing, right? I don't either. This isn't going to end well, right?
Zilch.
Zip. Okay.
They die anyway, even if you do it right.
Even if you
They're
do it right,
fish.
they die. They fish. So a couple minutes later, the fish are alive. This is at 5:59. Fish are alive. They seem to be calming down a bit, which I thought was hilarious. Like, apparently she's a marine biologist. She knows the temperament of fish.
They had some fish anxiety.
Yeah, that's either a good thing or bad, so she's perceptive. Okay, so now she's at Parker's practice. Okay, fine. Now, at this point, it's 8 o'clock now. I get the text, all 3 fish are dead.
Yeah,
Of
Lock
course.
of the century.
Of course the fish are dead. Of course they're dead.
New environments.
Yes.
You overfeed them.
Who knows?
It
It was the water. I think it was the water
water
table.
shocks their system.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
The
of
pH
course
balance.
this thing was going to end poorly. Good grief. Good grief, almighty Z.
I mean, least surprising story ever. And by
Yeah.
the way, you can't placate kids who want a dog with fish.
Not long. Not long you can't.
Well, not even through the night.
Not even through the night, as it
now
turns out.
Now they've learned about, like,
Oh, my
pet
God. It
death
was the
and
saddest this morning.
sadness.
I'm downstairs this morning preparing for my other occupation, and I hear the little feet, and I hear Bootsy say, maybe they're alive. And he goes, nope, they're dead. Yep. Still dead. That's how that goes.
Still, yeah.
This is a fun one. I mean, let's be real honest. If this is allowed to be played as it is intended right now, this is the best preseason game in the NFL, maybe for the entire preseason. This is Desean Watson for the first time since 2021. Yep. It's Trevor Lawrence for the first time with a new quarterback. It's Travis Etienne. There's a lot to like about this thing if we're allowed to have any joy at all.
There is a lot. I think it's a very compelling game in a lot of ways. I think certainly the first quarter might be the most compelling first quarter of any preseason game this year, certainly because of, Desean Watson, as he said, hasn't played since the 2020 season, when no big deal, led the league in passing that year, thrown for over 4,800 yards. But, yeah, I like this Jags team. And it was funny. I was doing my prep, listening to the Hall of Fame. It was a great tip I got from the venerable Jim Donovan, was you listen to the TV game the week before, the TV copy, because you know that those broadcasters are getting something in the production meetings from the coaches, and you listen to that. And so I did that, and Collinsworth the whole time was like, geez, I really wish I got to watch the Jags team that's on paper. This kind of sucks that I don't get to see that. I want to see Matt Kirk and Etienne, and I want to see Trevor Lawrence, and Evan Ingram. He just kept going on and on. I'm like, man. He's like, now there's a guy, now there's a team that I'd love to see, but this is not who we're watching right now. So he was lamenting that continuously throughout the broadcast, which I thought was hysterical. But we're going to get to see those guys, and I think that's very important. And I think from a Browns standpoint, you mentioned keys, I think having receivers make plays, I think that's an important key. Getting open, catching the football, that's important to me. Seeing some of these young defensive tackles like Jordan Elliott and Taven Bryan, I don't think we'll see a lot of them, but we'll see a lot of Perrion. And how does Perrion Winfrey do in this game as a guy that, has a lot of tools, in his toolbox, but is just working on refining his techniques, and has the sage advice of a Gerald McCoy to help him do that, a former Oklahoma Sooner and 6-time Pro Bowler playing the same position. He was a 3-tech for Tampa Bay for many, many years. So I think that's a fun part of it. You obviously want to come out of it healthy. Certainly anybody that is, principally that you're counting on to stay healthy. Chris made a great point that we're looking at, just a very few roster spots on this team, and very few competitions. I'll be curious about the punters. I know it's not sexy, but, that's one of the real competitions. You have two guys who have kicked in the NFL, punted in the NFL, and both of them who can boom the ball.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious on what do we try at returner. Is it simply going back to, Schwartz and Dearness Johnson and Demetric Felton and Donovan Peoples-Jones on the punts? Is it that simple? Do we try one of these young guys? Travell Harris did some returning at Washington State. Does he get a look? Does he have a chance to make a team as a return guy? Is there, an outlier there that we weren't privy to because of how good Jakeem Grant was? These are little things that, you pay attention to. And I would give a little piece of advice to people at home is early on, look who's with the top special teams units. That'll tell you at least who Mike Prefer likes a lot and who, has maybe an inside track to make the team on teams, because when you are the fourth running back, when you're the fifth, sixth wide receiver, the third, fourth tight end, when you are, the fourth, fifth, sixth linebacker, the fifth, sixth corner, the third, fourth safeties, you got to play special teams. And the guys that have the trust of Mike Prefer, that helps. That helps. Some guys make the team because of special teams, and so keep an eye on just kind of who's out there tonight in those roles.
Yeah, absolutely. And while Z was mentioning all of those things are going to be very important for you to watch tonight, we do see this from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. A settlement of the Desean Watson situation is not out of the question. I'm told. Stay tuned. So that was something that we said, last week, even with the appointee of Roger Goodell, that theoretically they could go back to settlement, I suppose. I'm wondering what the NFL's angle would be, other than to say that they don't want this to go on any longer, and so a settlement would keep them out of that. And it gets back to, interestingly enough, where we were in June, which was NFL wanting a full season indefinite, Watson's camp wanting none, settle on 8, and away you go. Now it feels like 8 is the bottom line for Watson's camp, and it seems like the leagues has still stayed the same at indefinite. You wonder if it ends up at 12 or 10 or something like that if they could do a settlement.
Here's the thing that's so hard about this is they couldn't agree on a settlement when there was actually real leverage on the side of Desean Watson. But you know what? That actual real leverage was a mirage, because the NFL always had in its back pocket the ability to say, we don't like this decision, we're making our own decision. So I guess maybe he never really did have any leverage, even though you would have felt that he would have, knowing that it was, what Sue Robinson said right at the beginning, which was there's no way this is going to be a year. A settlement makes the most sense. I hate when things are worded like this. There could be a settlement. Okay, yeah, I could also play quarterback for the Miami Dolphins tomorrow.
Well, you might tonight. We may need you.
We might. Listen, I always tell AB, every now and then I loosen that shoulder up. I'm ready.
He's seen you.
It's one of those
in action.
He has seen me in flag football, and one game I was having one of my best games ever, and he just came right out and just absolutely changed the game in one half with his presence. He was Ed Reed on defense, and he was Mike Vick on offense. He was unbelievable. But so he has seen that. He knows that I'm not on that level.
He knows that you can play. Yeah. Yeah.
But he knows I can sling it around. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just you hope you have something. I hope that in the next hour, half hour, there's some sort of resolution to this. I think there's some exciting guys. If you guys haven't been to camp, there's some really fun guys to see. I'm curious what David Bell looks like. He was great in the rookie mini camp. He caught everything in mini camp. He's missed a lot of time. He's come back, but he was special at Purdue. Does he get a chance to catch some balls tonight? Jerome Ford, guys, if you haven't seen this kid, he's legit. He is legit,
electric,
and he's gonna. If I had to, you're doing MVP of the preseason. He's got that written all over him, because he could get a lot of carries. He could be a 15 carry guy and run for 100 yards in every preseason game pretty easily.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in a good spot for that. And that's kind of what's cool about this, is that there are guys you want to see who, well, in David Bell case and Anthony Schwartz case, you're going to need them this year. Ford is a luxury. It's a luxury that we have him on this roster as deep as it is. And, I think he could be a preseason star. John Kelly as well. You go into the tight end room, and can Miller Forrestal get it done? Can Johnny Stanton get it done with his versatility? Do one of the young players, a Nakia Griffin-Stewart, a Zaire Mitchell-Payton, a Marcus Santos-Silva, do they deliver or show something? Because that's kind of where this team is, right?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see who gets the first reps. If Joel Bitonio doesn't play, who gets the start? Who starts at left guard?
Yeah,
I think that's an interesting thing to see. And then, as you mentioned, you flip it around. Chase Winovich is our first look at Chase Winovich. Guy had 11 sacks in his first 2 years in the league. How does he fit in? Now, he was doing that in a 3-4 where he's a stand-up outside linebacker. Definitely can get to the quarterback. Chris Kiffin was telling me he is slippery and relentless in his pursuit of the quarterback. He knows how to get there. But can he hold up against the run as a 4-3 end? He's a little bit smaller, The guy that he would be competing with in that spot, Isaac Rochelle's 6'5", 280, and Chase is, I think 6'3", maybe 255. So I think there are subtle little things that I think we can look at in this game that will be a lot of fun. And, I've said it many, many times. I don't think that they are more excited on the defensive side of the ball to see anybody other than MJ Emerson. They are really excited to see MJ Emerson. They feel great about what they have thus far.
He will jump off the screen tonight for you. I would be shocked if he didn't. If you're watching tonight, if you're driving around listening to Nathan and The Voice, you will hear his name will be said. It's just inevitable. You cannot miss him. He's that type of a comment early on. He's been very, very impressive. All right, coming up next, our conversation with Harrison Bryant. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Land on Demand is now free in the palm of your hands. During the entire month of August, ESPN Cleveland, the Bath Authority, giving fans free access to the Land on Demand for all the news you don't want to miss. See us live in the brand new studios. Replay all your favorite shows commercial-free and on demand to get all access to Tony Grossi's Browns analysis and more. Visit thelandondemand.com or download the app today. The Land on Demand, remodeled by the Bath Authority. And now a conversation Z had last night, one-on-one with our tight end, Harrison Bryant.